Introvert's Guide to Launching. Hi, I'm Lucy Griffiths and I'm an introvert, and I've been an online business owner for the last 7 years, and I would really say one of the most stressful things about running an online business is launching. There were times where I would be having a big launch team, I'd be managing 10 plus people, and it was horrific. It was the worst experience ever. And I absolutely hated it. And it made me fall out of love with my business. And I literally, by the end of the experience of doing it, I worked with a business coach who tried to get me to launch every 6 weeks. I kid you not. And so I started doing it, and it literally, I think it broke me. It utterly drained me. And it made me question everything. And the result of that was I didn't really launch for a year, so I wasn't really selling in that way. I fell out of love with everything, my business, my marriage, everything. And I think the launching was the point where it just got all too much. And so I want to talk about ways that you can launch, the ways that you can sell without it being completely exhausting, because I don't think anyone talks about it. And right now we're in the middle of, an absolute financial catastrophe. Let's put it like that. The world is really in meltdown. And so we might feel like we need to be selling and rah, rah, just to, keep going. And we do need to sell. It's important as business owners, we sell. But the reality is that if you find a way to sell that feels in alignment with you, that feels like this isn't overwhelming, this isn't draining for me as an introvert, I don't completely expand all my energy, where you can still show up, you can still launch, but it's not so draining that it stops you doing it for the next year. And so I really, in going through that process, was like, I'm going to just throw away all the rule book. I'm going to stop listening to every single online guru going, because it didn't work for me. And with me, I'm a single parent now, having gone through that experience. So I'm a single parent. I have an autistic son. And so I can't be rah in your face doing the big launch. And when I look at, all of the big gurus, they have big teams, but they're all like, oh yes, do more videos, do more reels, do more things. And it's like, yeah, that's great. But actually, what if you had a system that was much, much easier and work for your life and fitted in your life to, whether you've got childcare responsibilities or you're caring for elderly parents or whatever you have going on in your life, so that you can still launch, you still can show up. It means that this strategy works if you're a side hustle business, where you're doing this on the side and you've got a day job. Otherwise, I think if you were doing a day job and trying to launch, it's way too stressful. So let's talk through how I do this. And if you want the free plan that goes with this, it's called the Easy Launch Plan. Check out the link below, because this will really help you. So for me, being an introvert, I need to really manage my energy. And so I will do things and I'll have a spurt of doing them, and then I can then recharge. So it's not that I don't show up and do video. I do, but I will do it on a particular day, and then I'll have a couple of days where I'm just having down days. So today I've gone and got my hair done. I am shooting a bunch of videos, so I'm batching my videos. So I'll batch a load of content in one day, and then I will then, put that to one side. And then it means on other days, I can have quiet days. It means that I can have one day where I'm like doing a load of filming. And then it means the rest of the week, I'm focused on caring for my son. I only work school hours because I have to be there for him. So it means that I literally drop him at school, will go for a run, go and get my hair done, film the videos. But then the rest of the week, I can be getting on with other tasks, and then 2:30 it's school pickup. So I have to be really mindful of timing and what I do. So if you want the easy launch plan, one of the things that I would really say to you is make your launches, rather than you having to show up, in a Facebook group, make it it's about a webinar. So having a successful webinar can really help you to sell. And so that means making it that is webinar focused, because then you perfect the webinar. You do the webinar, you write it out, you make it work, and you practice it. And you might do that webinar. It may be that you do it a couple of times, do it once a month, just to test it out, so you really nail that process of doing it. Because that webinar is going to take you, let's say it's 30 minutes to an hour. In that webinar you are selling, and it's draining. But by practicing it, by really nailing what you're going to say, the kind of pain points and the objections you're going to overcome, that will really help people. So it is the best way to sell. So to get people into a webinar, you want to, you can have a pre-recorded webinar, but you need to nail the live version first of all. So what I do is I will have a webinar, and I have a really strong webinar format that I would love to share with you. So I have my webinar, and then on the back of that, so there's my webinar. I'll be sending emails to get people to sign up for my webinar training. So they'll be signing up for my webinar, they're going to the training. And so I am inviting people to get that particular training. So they go to the training, and then on the back of it, I am then selling. And so it's really thinking about, how can I sell in a way that is best aligned with me? How can I do that so that they really want that kind of information, that training that's going to be in the webinar, but it's not just about you giving away information, it's about you selling. And so you have a pool of people that you're selling to. And I find that when I've given that webinar in a way that really sells, and this is what's important, having it so you've really dialed in, you're overcoming those objections, you're selling. So it may be that people want to have a discovery call with you afterwards, they want a one-to-one conversation, but you don't need to sell in the same way because you've done that on the webinar. So it overcomes all of those objections. So you just show up, you have a conversation with someone, and they see if they want to buy. But you're not having to do that whole buy my thing, oh, I'm amazing, buy my thing. That can feel really exhausting and draining, especially as an introvert. So I really try and make the webinar the foundation of everything. And so even if it's, a few months later, when I'm not outside my little mini launch period, because I have very easy launches that are very, very, very low key. But I'll also be selling on evergreen the rest of the time. So that means people are watching a recording of my webinar, and that means, again, that if I'm having a conversation with them in a discovery call, it's not so exhausting and draining because they've been through that process. I find that when somebody has not been through my webinar and I'm having to show up and be like, hi, yes, that's where I get drained, and that's where I feel like it's so much more energy expended. And so, take people through that process, have that structure, have those processes in place. So create those emails, create that system and that structure. And if you want to check out the Easy Launch Plan, this really talks it through. So you've got here's the emails, this is the, schedule of how you do it. This is the plan for the emails, for the social media. And then you've got that piece of here's the webinar, and then here's the sales emails. And so dialing in your sales emails means that they do the talking for you rather than you having to really show up and try and convince people. So it's much less draining. The second thing that I do to really help me with launching is by batching my videos, because it means that I'm having conversations, people are getting to know me, they're watching my videos, I'm establishing a relationship with them, I'm building trust, that people go, oh yeah, I really like this person, they're really helpful, I've done X, Y, Z, and they think, I trust them, I want to work with them. And so you've overcome a lot of those issues that people may have because they've got the reassurance of they can see how you work, and they get to know you and like you. So having that mix of batching my videos, creating content off the back of my videos, so creating consistent emails throughout the year. So I have, I aim for 2 videos a week, and then it means that's 2 emails a week that go out. So people just get little drips of me, they get to know you, and then it means then you can sprinkle in those launches. So I will have launches that are maybe it's on a, let's say, once a quarter. I'll definitely do, of my main program, I do 3 launches a year. So 1 in January, 1 in kind of April, and then 1 in September. And then I may have 1 in June, but I'll just see how I feel. I may have 1 in December. But what I also do is make sure I've got the other products to go in there. So that may be, if you've only got 1 key product, maybe that's affiliate marketing, that you sprinkle in other offerings. It may be you've got other things that you could sell. So for me, I have my Make Money While You Sleep membership. So I'll sprinkle in sometimes when I'm launching that. I will also have other things that I'm selling for Black Friday or other key times of the year. So having that schedule for my launch really helps me, because it helps me to be consistent and stay on track, even when, as an introvert, you might want to hide away and feel completely exhausted. This is a way to make it manageable and easy, so that you're reliant on selling through email rather than feeling like, oh my God, I've got to, sing and dance and tap dance in a Facebook group, and all of those things that I used to do before. And, to be honest, when I used to do that kind of launching, I would be so exhausted. I used to wear silly hats all the time because it meant that I could hide behind the hat. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. So I would basically use the hat to be like, ta-da, let's have some fun. And instead of just being like, oh, let's just show up, because I was just so exhausted, it made, wearing hats, it made like me have fun with the hats. And so it made the process easier. But that was still behind the scenes. I was utterly drained and it just wasn't for me. And so you want to find ways that are going to work for you, that makes it easy, that you simplify, you streamline, so the process is way easier. So check out that launch plan, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I'd love to see you again soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, bye, bye.